Hello everyone, and welcome back to History of the Ancient World. Today, we're journeying from the realm of historical fact into the mists of myth and legend. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of mythical creatures that haunted the dreams and decorated the art of ancient civilizations. From the sun-scorched sands of Egypt to the rugged mountains of Greece and the dense forests of northern Europe, ancient people shared their world with a menagerie of incredible beasts. These weren't just simple fairy tales. They were a way to explain the unexplainable, to embody virtues and vices, and to caution against the dangers lurking beyond the city walls. Let's start in ancient Greece, a land teeming with legendary monsters. Perhaps the most famous is the Minotaur, the tragic creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull. Imprisoned in a vast labyrinth by King Minos of Crete, the Minotaur was a symbol of raw, untamed nature and the terrifying consequences of defying the gods. Every 9 years, Athens was forced to send 7 young men and 7 young women as a sacrifice, until the hero Theseus bravely volunteered to end the beast's reign of terror. This story isn't just about a monster, it's about heroism, the struggle between civilization and wilderness, and the dark secrets that can lie at the heart of a powerful kingdom. Then there are the sirens, beautiful but deadly creatures whose enchanting songs lured sailors to their doom on rocky shores. Odysseus famously had his men plug their ears with wax and tie him to the ship's mast so he could hear their song without succumbing to it. The sirens represent a powerful, universal theme, the allure of temptation and the deadly dangers that can hide behind a beautiful facade. They were a cautionary tale for every sailor who braved the unpredictable Mediterranean Sea. Let's not forget the Hydra, a multi-headed serpent that was pure chaos. For every head that was cut off, 2 more would grow in its place. It took the immense strength and cleverness of Heracles to finally defeat it, using fire to cauterize the necks and prevent them from regrowing. The Hydra was a physical manifestation of a problem that seems to multiply the more you fight it, a concept we can all relate to even today. Now let's sail across the Mediterranean to the ancient land of Egypt. Here, the mythology is just as rich, and the creatures are deeply intertwined with their concepts of life, death, and the cosmos. Take the Sphinx, for example. The great Sphinx of Giza, with the body of a lion and the head of a human, has silently watched over the pyramids for millennia. In Egyptian lore, sphinxes were seen as benevolent guardians, protectors of temples and tombs. However, the Greek version of the Sphinx, famously encountered by Oedipus, was a cunning and malevolent creature that posed riddles and devoured those who couldn't answer. This shows how a single mythical concept could transform and adapt as it traveled between cultures. Another key figure in Egyptian mythology is Ammit, the devourer of the dead. This terrifying creature was a composite of the 3 largest man-eating animals the Egyptians knew: the head of a crocodile, the torso of a lion, and the hindquarters of a hippopotamus. Ammit waited patiently during the weighing of the heart ceremony in the afterlife. If a deceased person's heart was judged to be heavier than the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice, it meant they had lived a sinful life. Ammit would then devour the heart, condemning the soul to eternal restlessness. Ammit was the ultimate enforcer of morality, a constant reminder to live a just and righteous life. Traveling north, we find the mythologies of the Norse people, forged in a land of cold winters and long dark nights. Their world was populated by giants, elves, dwarves, and of course, magnificent dragons. The most famous of these is Fafnir, a dwarf who, consumed by greed for a cursed ring, transformed into a fearsome dragon to guard his treasure. He was eventually slain by the hero Sigurd, who bathed in the dragon's blood to gain invulnerability. This story, central to Norse and Germanic legend, is a powerful allegory about how greed can twist and corrupt a person, transforming them into a monster. We also have Jörmungandr, the Midgard serpent. This colossal sea serpent was so enormous that it encircled the entire world, grasping its own tail in its mouth. As one of the children of the trickster god Loki, Jörmungandr was a primal force of chaos, destined to fight his nemesis, the thunder god Thor, during Ragnarok, the end of the world. Jomganda represents the cyclical nature of destruction and rebirth. The idea that the world is held in a fragile balance, with chaos always lurking just beneath the surface. Let's venture to the Far East, to ancient China, where mythical creatures were deeply embedded in philosophy, spirituality, and imperial power. The Chinese dragon, or long, is vastly different from its European counterpart. While European dragons were often depicted as malevolent, fire-breathing beasts to be slain, Chinese dragons were wise, benevolent, and divine creatures. They were masters of water, controlling the rivers, rains, and seas. They were symbols of power, luck, and prosperity, and became the ultimate emblem of the emperor, the son of heaven. These dragons weren't monsters to be feared, but powerful spiritual beings to be revered and respected. Then there is the Qilin, a creature often compared to a unicorn. With the body of a deer, the head of a dragon, and the tail of an ox, the Qilin was a symbol of good fortune, serenity, and the arrival of a wise and benevolent ruler. It was said to be so gentle that it could walk on grass without bending a single blade. Seeing a Qilin was an incredibly auspicious sign, heralding an age of peace and prosperity. Back in the Near East, in Mesopotamia, we encounter creatures like the Lamassu. These were protective deities, often depicted with the body of a bull or lion, the wings of an eagle, and the head of a human. Colossal statues of Lamassu were placed at the entrances to palaces and cities, like the ancient city of Nineveh. They were both imposing and reassuring, intimidating any evil spirits or enemies who dared to approach, while offering a symbol of the king's power and divine protection to all who entered. What do all these creatures tell us about the ancient world? They show us that ancient peoples had a profound imagination and a deep need to make sense of their environment. A storm at sea wasn't just a weather phenomenon. It was the wrath of a sea god or the thrashing of a great serpent. A sudden plague wasn't just a disease. It was the work of a vengeful deity or a demonic spirit. These myths also served as a cultural glue, creating a shared set of stories and symbols that bound communities together. They taught moral lessons, celebrated heroic virtues like courage and wisdom, and warned against vices like greed and hubris. They were the blockbusters, the comic books, and the philosophical texts of their time, all rolled into one. The amazing thing is how enduring these creatures are. Dragons, griffins, and unicorns still capture our imaginations today in books, movies, and games. They have become archetypes, timeless symbols that continue to speak to our own hopes, fears, and dreams. The line between history and mythology is often blurred, but by studying these incredible creatures, we gain a unique window into the minds and souls of the people who lived thousands of years ago. They remind us that for all our modern science and technology, the human need for wonder, for story, and for a way to explain the great mysteries of life and death is as ancient as civilization itself. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the world of myth and legend. What's your favorite mythical creature from the ancient world? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the history of the ancient world. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.